Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. I got a review here of the RU-251, the German Tier 9 light tank, moved up from Tier 8. You can see I've got the 5 Tier 9 light tanks called up right there in my garage. 4 of those moved up from Tier 8, the T49, the lightweight, the 251, and the 1390. The 132 Alpha is a new tank, but it's a straight upgrade over the WZ-132, which actually stayed at Tier 8. Of these 5 tanks, the RU-251 and the lightweight more or less play like they used to at Tier 8. The T49 plays quite differently now that it has a viable 90mm gun, unless you're running around with the derp. The 1390 has changed considerably because of the change to its clip and reload time. But the 251 is still kind of the jack of all trades scout at Tier 9, while the T54 lightweight is kind of like a pocket medium with a little bit of scouting capability, and the 132 Alpha is similar to the lightweight, although with a little less staying power. But we're going to talk about the 251. We'll take a quick comparison. We will look at the tech tree. We will look at how I have it loaded out, and then we will go through some gameplay. So you can see that here it is in the garage, fairly low profile. T49 is taller, lightweight is similar but longer. Of course, we got the tiny 1390. And the WZ-132 Alpha with its great big gun, about the same size. So it's quite a long scout tank, but it does have a low profile. Let's take a look at the tech tree. This line is nice in that as you get to the SPIC, you will be able to split into the Indian or the Hawk. You actually have an option at the Hawk 12 to move back up to the Leopard line. So if you want to open up a double end tier kind of column, then come up the SPIC and you can jump to 2 different Tier 10 end game lines. One thing you do need to watch out for is crew. Let's get back to the Lux, the Lukes. It's got 4, the Leopard 4, the 2801 5, so you're going to add a guy, which is a bummer because now you're going to lose that 5th guy. No tanks past that need 5. 3 at the SPIC, so now you're dropping 2 of the 2801 guys. Good news, 3 on the Hawk. Oh boy, back to 4 at the 251, so you're going to do a little crew shuffle. And when you get the RHM PZW, it's back to 3. These are all 4. The Panzer's at 4, the Leopard's at 4, and the Leopard PTA is at 4, Leopard 1 is at 4. All that being said, you are going to have to do a little bit of messing around with crew on the merry-go-round there to deal with the changes as you move them up. That is what the tech tree looks like. Let's go into a comparison. Got the RU over on the right and its peers to the left of it. And we'll see that average damage per shot's right in there. Obviously the 132 Alpha has that great big gun at 320. Penetration is pretty good. Not top of the class, but close. No problem there, and the gold is pretty nice. It does carry heat as it's gold round. Rate of fire is decent, not as good as the T49, but right in there. Reload time, again, second to the T49. Coming down here to turret traverse, just fine, as with all scouts. Pretty good depression, better than most. The T49 and the RU actually can use ridges, and they're not as uncomfortable at times to use as the others, as far as depression goes. Aiming time is fantastic. Really fast, and the dispersion is good, so best in class right there. This has a fantastic little gun, which it always has, and even with this new iteration is still very good, and it's the reason why, as it was an old Tier 8, it was used in competitive games much more than even Tier 8 mediums ever would be. And the DPM is pretty good, not fantastic. The T49 is really an outlier there, and the RU is in amongst the rest of its peers. Hit points, top in class, sharing that with the T49, so it's got a little bit of staying power as far as hit points go. Armor, there just isn't any. It's not even worth talking about. And it is zippy, so 70 miles an hour top speed, kilometers an hour, sorry. 24 backwards is pretty good. Good specific power, lots of horsepower, so this thing will get up and move no problem, much like its older iteration at Tier 8 would do. Traverse is good enough, right in there with the rest, and it is top in class as you get down here to view range, which is nice, makes it a very nice scout, and the concealment is actually very good. Not top, but close to it, looks like it's second. So comparative wise, it is still a very good scout, kind of jack of all trades scout, can swing into the medium role if it needs to based on its outstanding gun and depression. But as a scout at Tier 9 also, it can do a great job with that. How do I have mine set up? As always, I've got a camo net. Not as always, some of my Tier 9s don't have camo nets, but I do like to run this tank passive on occasion, so I'm carrying a camo net and binocs. Probably what people would recommend is a rammer, obviously. Coated optics and vents would be more than likely what most people are running, with the option of potentially a GLD or a vert stab if you're going more offensive, vert stab being ahead of the GLD at that point. I've got a normal repair kit, med kit, and an automatic fire extinguisher. I'm carrying 31, 6, and 4. This HE round actually is quite interesting. Has a pretty decent penetration and does quite a bit of damage. So as an anti-scout, the HE round is actually viable. It was probably better at Tier 8. At Tier 9, maybe not as good, but again, light skin tanks, you can surprise people if you load HE, so I do carry 4 just for giggles on that. It's not really an HE round built to strip off hit points off of heavily armored tanks. It's more an HE round, very useful for nuking light tanks, light skin tanks. And that's pretty much my setup right there. The crew is decent with 3 skills working on their 4th. Brother in arms, always a plus, and kind of the standard things from there that you would put on a scout. And now we will move into some gameplay. Here we are on Windstorm for the gameplay with the RU-251. Decent map for scouts. There are better obviously out there, but this north area is built for scouts and lighter tanks, smaller tanks. Lots of opportunities to get in here, poke and prod, get some shots, spot some guys towards the back. The only problem with it is fairly close, and you will tend to get spotted as you're doing it. I'm going up to the pretty standard scout initial spot on this little hill here to start looking at guys. I've got a 50-51 coming. I'll shoot him and actually bounce off his turret, because why not? Like most of the scouts, this is fairly ammo limited. This one's not as bad as some. So you do have to be careful about wasting too many shots. I'm going to come out here, miss him. And there's a lot of guns up there. So an ST1, the E75 or whatever it is I just shot at, sorry, E50. So I do need to be careful. You can poke up there and lose a lot of hit points by doing that. Plus the RD will start shooting into there once you are proven to be hanging out there quite a bit. So I know that 50-51's here. Kind of waiting for him to make a mistake. There he is. He's looking the wrong way. I'll just come in there and start working. You see him sort of a reverse side scrape, poking out front ways instead of backing out right there. Let's just minimize the exposure. Now that 50-51 has fired his entire clip, and it's time to just start working on him. No reason to sit out there waiting while I reload. I do still have to, at that point, be careful about where that E50 is, because if I come out too far, he can clip me right there, and we'll take him out. And by clip, I don't mean a clip, I mean hit a piece of me. See if we can see he's looking at me right there, and I get lucky he misses me. Come out here and take one more shot. There we go, and the E50 was on his reload as his shot came in there and missed. So just timed that out. Now we'll move on up to here. We're ahead 3 tanks, so I'm just kind of using this little scout area. See that tree that's down right there? If you can get up there before anyone sees you and knock down that one, or the one that's actually to its left, that will help you do things like this, where I can come out, not be spotted, shoot, and then back out. If that tree is not down, you're going to pop out, and that E50 will immediately see you and pop out, and he'll return fire just as you come out. So I'm just trying to see if I can get a shot on him here. And I've gone to heat. He's flat plating that top plate right there because he's headed downhill. That's going to help my heat go through. I do need to be concerned about the artillery right here. So there's three of us, a T-30, a 110, we got the E-100, some other cats and dogs over there, and we're basically just holding this corner here. The E-50 is going to move up. I see him. Now here's the depression. It's good but not amazing, so I've got to work it just a little bit there until I can get up and get that shot. And I was a little too close to the rocks to my left. There's a little ridge right there that bumps the front of your tank up, so you do have to be careful. So the good news is that E-50 is now dead. Sitting right there like that was a bit of a mistake, because if the RD was looking at me and noticed me rocking back and forth and then noticed that I stopped before I went dark, may have come in there and taken a shot. E-50 is not looking. That's one thing you need to learn, is where is the turret pointing? Can I get out there and get a shot before the turret turns back towards me? Much like that. He's still looking the other way. Top of the turret, outstanding. But I am now kind of cornered in this little hole right here. Take one more on the top, but it's highly angled. And right now I'm just thinking, man, I am about to get RD'd. Whack, 51, 54 E1. So that's an autoloader. I got to get moving. I immediately fix and just start trucking. Moving targets are harder to hit, so the E100 misses me. I actually shoot into his turret, unfortunately. Although I did not tuck up as far as I thought I had, because I get hit by the 5041 one more time. So let's use the 251's mobility and change where we are. The ST1's over there. I really don't want to sit there poking straight on with him, so let's move forward and around this guy. There was an IS-3 camping in the back, so I really didn't want to push on him. So I need to go somewhere different and use the mobility of the 251. Unfortunately, my turret is damaged and I don't have my timer ready to fix it yet. So let's see where this ST1 is. I've got some guys with me. Alright, looks like he is busy pointing that way and just took a hit. He fired. I'm going to come down here. Fortunately, it takes me a little while to get down and get on this guy. A shot around the corner. Don't hit me, don't hit me. He just gets there. It's unfortunate. He's fighting two tanks. That's always bad. Three, actually, so we surround him and kill him off. And now it's just clean up on aisle 2, pushing forward. The great thing about scouts and the mobility is you can be across the entire map, and while you're coming for cleanup hit points, you can get there. I see him thinking, oh darn it. The T-30 nukes that guy. There goes the IS-3, and now we just got to find the last three. We see the T-30 over there in the south. Here they are. Got a highlight, and oh boy, and I miss. Must be getting too many hit points of damage. There we go. So we got the 103. Just kind of use this ridge right here. He's not really paying attention to me. This is going to go right into his front sloped armor, which is never going to go through. So I'll aim a little better onto the side right there. We'll go through his side. And again, the mobility of the RU-251, nice fast thing. See how fast it accelerates, it gets moving towards the hit points, or away from danger if we were losing. We got this guy. Let's see if we can get him. Oh, the 110E4 got him. Alrighty. So there you go, RU-251 gameplay. You can see it using a little bit of its scouting capability. Obviously I didn't do much passive or anything like that on this one. But popping around that corner with that tree down, seeing those guys across on that ramp and getting shots off and then backing away, kind of the forte of both mediums and lights. And then later on in the game, moving from where I was, raging around the map, finding guys, getting around behind them with the tank's mobility and its fantastic gun, switching more to a medium role on the cleanup phase / scout role as you try to find the rest of the guys that are camping in the back. I hope this helped. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate your support, and we will see you.